Everybody is joining. Good morning. And we will start in time, as usual. So, hello, good morning to another edition of On Air, the online format of Swiss Airways and Wildcard Media. Let's welcome today Darius Barmettler from Holoai and Pascal Schwager from Zürich Tourismus. Today is all about traveling. So the topic of the session is From Content to Compagnons, Travel Guidance with AI. We will stream the session on YouTube. And Darius, Pascal, I would like to hand over to you. And I'm very curious about the travel guides.
Thanks for the handover, and huge thanks for having us. It's a huge opportunity, especially for us as a startup, to be able to present our case. And was also really impressed on how many people applied to the webinar, and got us a bit nervous, but we're gonna make it. And yeah, really looking forward to it. Whenever you guys have questions, please text in the chat. Pascal will have a look and we will answer some questions on the fly if possible, but we also have some room in the end. And of course, you can afterwards also connect with us and go deeper on your questions. All right. We will start with a small video. There is, we believe, nothing better than starting a Friday morning with a video. And we have, hold on, yeah, here it comes. With a small introduction video that explains what we are doing. And then, of course, we go into a presentation to talk a little bit about it. But the main core will be a demo where we're going to show you guys the products, which are not live yet. So we are still building it. Maybe we will have some bugs or mistakes, but looking forward to show it to you.
Travel is more than moving from place to place. It's about stories, connections, and unforgettable moments. Joaia was created to bring these experiences closer, powered by AI, shaped by human knowledge. We believe technology should empower travelers, making it easier to discover hidden gems, connect with places, and create lasting memories. By combining the knowledge of locals and brands, we redefine the way the world explores. The Joaia Guide Studio enables the creation of AI local guides, interactive personalities that can take the form of fictional characters, legendary figures, or digital twins. Give your guide a name, write their biography, shape their personality, design their voice, and turning it into a distinct character your audience will remember. Add your own knowledge. By connecting databases or simply upload unstructured content, our AI organizes it around places, events, and stories. Test how your guide responds, refine what they recommend, and analyze how travelers interact. The questions they ask, the paths they follow, and the places and stories that resonate. Bring your guides to life, helping users explore on your website, integrated into an existing application via API, or featured directly in the Joaia marketplace. In the Joaia app, discovery begins with a local personality. Choose your guide, create your trip, and let the journey take shape around you.
Bonjour, my dear. What a pleasure to meet you. I'm Madame Margot, and I would be delighted to share my Paris with you.
Joaia brings together the best of chat and maps and makes them truly work for travel. Interact with your guide by taking a picture of something you want to know more about. Type your question or speak it out loud, whatever fits the moment. Or tap a button and get recommendations right away.
These 4 places are among my personal favorites. They capture the essence.
Behind every recommendation is a reason, shaped by your interests, told by your guide, and connected to the way you like to travel.
For a beautiful view without the crowd, I always suggest the dome of the Basilique du Sacré-Cœur. Only few people realize there's a small entrance.
Beyond recommendations, Joaia lets you go deeper, uncovering the stories behind every place.
Beneath the Sacré-Cœur Basilica lies a hidden forest of 83 concrete piers.
While local guides bring curated knowledge, memories, and points of view from a specific place, our companions support with broader general knowledge when needed. Build your journey as you go. Save memories, map your moments, and invite others to join in. Every traveler brings their own questions. Every guide, their own voice. And together, they create new ways of seeing the world. Joaia, the second best solution after a human-guided tour.
All right. So back to the presentation. I would say before we start, we make a small introduction. As Sabine already said, my name is Darius, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Joaia AI Travel Guides. And with me is Pascal. Pascal.
Hello, everyone. Yes, I'm lead digital product services at Zürich Tourismus. And yeah, Darius and I started this journey already quite a while ago. But he's going to talk a little bit more about like how we started and why we're here and what the future is going to bring.
All right. So I guess everyone joining here does already know that AI will disrupt a lot of things, what we do, how we do it. Also in travel, actually in travel, we can already see some really huge signs that it's already starting. And I've brought just some numbers, even though we all know that it's happening right now, from 3 reports that were recently launched. And one of it says, for example, 80% of travelers expect more personalization with during the trip for experience with AI. Another one says that 71% of travelers want to have recommendation of the path or avoid overcrowded places. And already 61% of travelers have used AI in some form on a trip while traveling. But on the other hand, only 25% of them said they were happy with it. Most of them had problems with generic answers or outdated information. Also, the fear of hallucination is pretty big, and the way of how to use it was not handy. We built Joaia for curious minds. As back in 2023, a curious mind by myself, I discovered or was using ChatGPT for some months for work and study. And my wife and I, we love traveling, and we pretty bad in preparing for travel. Also because we want to just go on the road and see where it's leading us. But I have always felt an issue of visiting places and then not having the possibility to get to know more about it. I mean, I could read Wikipedia or the info boards, but sometimes on the info boards, it's just written what you see in front of you. Like in front of you is a statue of a woman. Thanks for that, but I want to know more about it. I'm one of the person who is sometimes maybe a bit annoying because I'm the one that always wants to know why. Why do we need to see that? What is special about it? What's the background story about it? And when using AI, I realized it could not only help me for work, it could actually also help me to find out more about the world around me and let me go deeper. And so I started sketching the idea of building an app that would use AI specifically for that. Back then, I tried it out with ChatGPT and figured out pretty fast it's okay, it's working, but it's not really handy in a way that I could use it while I'm traveling. My co-founder and I, we then built in the early 2024 a prototype to find out how does this work? Is this something people really want? try and where is the value created, how, in which way should this be built. And we just used ChatGPT as the source, and those 4 guides in there, they knew everything what ChatGPT knew, which was okay. But also I feel with the people who said just using AI, plain AI, after a while it feels too generic and it doesn't really have the depth you may want to have. So we started talking to different organizations, including Pascal and from Zürich Tourismus, but also Lucerne Tourism, Basel and Graubünden. And we actually started talking to them because we wanted to have their data and their knowledge to make our 4 guides better. And we quickly found out that there would actually be a huge win-win situation if they could build their own guides with their knowledge, curated, because as an organization wanting to use AI, you want to have the full control of the output. You want to obviously avoid hallucination, and you also maybe want to steer a little bit what the recommendations are. And to build something like that is quite challenging, because you need to build a huge middleware between the LLM and the application in itself. But with those four organizations willing to go on a journey with us and to build it, we started this year and built the whole infrastructure, or still building the whole infrastructure, for AI local guides. And as you saw in the video, AI local guides are personalities that have specific knowledge. As a startup, our vision is to combine local knowledge with AI and make the world for all the curious minds out there easier to discover and personal and more meaningful. We already have some local guides, and we're going to test Sophie today in the demo. But for example, we also have a local guide called Muriel from Chur. She knows everything about the street art in Chur and what is the meaning of the paintings and so on. Or we have Richard Rose. He's an history expert for Lucerne, and will lead people in the future through Lucerne. But we are also built the whole system in a way that many more organizations and creators can create their local guides with their specific knowledge and publish them on various platforms. But I want to deep dive a little bit into what can a local guide be, who are those creators going to be, and what makes it special comparing to just use plain AI or ChatGPT straight away. We see in our market 4 main stakeholders, and we started with tourism destinations. And as you saw already some examples, I would also like to highlight here Madame Margot again from the video. It's an example that tourism destinations has the interest of building a local guide, and we're going to hear more about the interest from Zürich Tourism afterwards, to be able to, first of all, prevent the service that all the individual travelers and curious minds have access to this knowledge, but also make sure that off the beaten path recommendations can be promoted or can be recognized. And usually those organizations build fictional characters. So Madame Margot does not exist. Every one you see right now and in the platform does not exist. Those are AI characters, and they get a personality to reflect a specific place. But we will also work together in the future with tour operators, like, for example, let's say Xavier Martes from Valencia, someone who has a deep knowledge and understanding of a town really maybe still working as a tour operator and having human guided tours, making his knowledge and his way of seeing this place also accessible as an AI local guide, and people can use him and his knowledge to guide through a place. Or it can be a museum building a fictional character about a specific topic, a specific time, or also what they show to underline what they show in the museum, like Maeve here. Or it can even be in the future content creators, people who have extensive travel blogs, writing about their experiences they made and making their knowledge, their recommendations when they were there, accessible as a local guide. So those four stakeholders are what we're gonna work with them step by step in the next years. We started with tourism destinations, and that's why Pascal is here. All right. How do we do that? We have as a foundation an LLM model. Right now, we do everything with OpenAI, but we are also able to change LLM models if it's needed. So we will always jump on the best model for this specific job, guiding travelers through destinations and help them prepare. We also want the AI guides to be able to talk to you. It should work as an interactive museum audio guide, for example. So in that case, we work together with 11 labs. So each guide can have his own voice, his own tone, and can also speak in any languages you might need. And we also want them to give the accessibility to search in the web, but only on specific sites you provided them. And for that reason, we work with Tavily, which enables web search, but only on those sites that were allowed to search for the guide. Then where the magic comes in is the data layer in between. We built a known point of interest database, so we are able to really have the data quality that is required. So you're not getting a restaurant recommended that actually closed last year. And also everything is in the right place. Additionally to that, there is the knowledge of the local guide in itself. Local guides are only capable of answering questions based on their knowledge. They will never answer a question if it's not in their own knowledge database. And of course, then also third-party data, for example, weather forecasts, if it's raining or sunny, might have an impact on what you're going to do this afternoon somewhere. But also in the future, it will have on those database, like the traffic, how crowded is this place right now? Does it really worth to go to visit this museum, or should I maybe go a little bit later? And the last data part is the users' data. Users are capable of telling us what is their interests, what are their preferences, and also maybe if they are vegan, they only get restaurants recommendations who have vegan options, for example. Then on top of that is our memory layer. We want, of course, the local guide also to understand what you talked with him this morning, if you are in the afternoon and discovering a city. So he should know in his short-term memory, what is the conversation about? What did we talk about this morning? And also answering you, building a context on top of it. But in the near future, we will also have long-term memory, which allows then travelers to really connect places with each other. Let's say you were in Barcelona last year, you really asked a lot of questions about architecture, and he talked to you a lot about Gaudi. So another local guide in Zurich knows that you are into architecture and knows that you wanted to know a lot about Gaudi and can make the bridge and recommend you stuff based on that. And of course, on top of it is the output, a user interface that should be easy to use, especially for travel, not using too much data because you are on a trip, and should be handy while you are exploring a city. That's why audio and text is relevant for us. And also, of course, to speak to you in your language. But I would say we go into and quickly show you how is a local guide created and what is working right now and testing it.
I maybe jump in. There are a few questions in the chat. Some I already answered on the text, but go ahead and I'll just try to point it out while you're demoing the user interface.
Perfect. So we are in here right now in our guide studio, and this is the user interface from Zürich Tourismus. And as we can see, Zurich already has several local guides created, personalities, and we're gonna today show you a little bit more about Sophie. In this guide studio, creators are able to manage their own data and also distribute their local guides on different applications. And also, of course, once they are distributed, to analyze them and have a deeper understanding. What are the travelers' needs? How many times were they used and where were they used? But we dive a little bit deeper into the data organization. And in here we have structured data, because all the tourism destinations, they have a structured database with general description and knowledge about point of interest in their region. To make this knowledge from those databases accessible, we implemented the database. So we already have a small description of the FIFA Museum, for example, from this database, and have data that can be used for a local guide. But additionally to that, we also make it possible to upload unstructured data, because it's really important for the AI to have as much content about something as possible. And the structured databases are not made for that. Everything should be as short as possible, as much to the point as possible. Also, website content usually is as much to the point as possible. So we built a place where they are able to upload unstructured data and really go deeper into what they want their local guide to know. And we can see here a folder structure, and Pascal, you made this folder structure.
Exactly.
What did you focus on? What did you focus on when you uploaded?
Yeah, that's a good point to also address some of your questions. So, like, we started with like a huge document where you just like gathered everything, and then we realized it makes it not really a good overview for ourselves. So the thought behind that is, so basically we have this 4 guides. We're gonna dive a little deeper into what each guide will offer as of information. But those are also some main categories we cover on our website, and we just realized over time and research what the people are interested in. So, for example, like sightseeing, that's for Sophie as a hidden gem hunter, obviously a little bit different than like the general classic explorer. That would be Fernando, to hint a little bit already. We focus more on like what could be interesting for her. And that's also like one of the questions is, how do we make sure that it's not like the general recommendations we get on other websites, blogs, and so on. And I do feel that struggle, because I research also like what do other blogs offer, but that's where our expertise comes in. So especially those documents you see here is, as Darius showed before, it's an additional layer to the database. And that's how we actually can steer on what should be recommended to the people. And as you can see here, for example, we have common topics like pizzeria or Italian restaurants or gelateria. We can there add those pizzeria where we as the experts from Zurich, where we feel like should be recommended. And with this additional information, we can also offer this extra level on curated content. So it's not just like TripAdvisor and Co. that just offer or like list the restaurant with the most recommendations or reviews. It's more what we think in each region for each local guide is relevant. And I would also like to tackle another question. Are the results independent of partner recommendations? Paola asked that in the beginning. Yes, they are independent. So currently, at least, and we don't plan on change that, we don't want to push restaurants that pay us or whatever, like have somehow more weight in it. We really want to focus on what do the local experts think is the best in each category. We started with a little survey internally, also like what are your hidden gems, for example. So we asked the people working at Zurich Tourism, and we will build up on that. So we're currently in the phase of all collecting this data, and that's the process for us. I think that's the most relevant questions for now when it comes to the content. And for the other ones, I will deep dive into that a little bit later, but hand over to you again, Darius.
I think important to know is it's totally the creator's choice, what he wants to recommend and why he wants to recommend. Technically, it would be possible if a creator says, I'm working together with local business, everyone who pays me something, I'm gonna push. It's the creator's choice, and I hope in the future when we have a lot of users, they're also gonna then upvote or downvote those choices. And right now with the organizations and destinations in the back, they're, as Pascal said, not really want to just make money with the recommendations. Basel, for example, even makes a survey in Basel, so the local people in Basel gonna vote on their best spots in Basel, and then the local guide from Basel is going to have this knowledge and really recommend it also to the tourists. Yeah, we go deeper a little bit and how Sophie was created. So Pascal, maybe some words to that. Why did you come up with Sophie, and who is Sophie?
So exactly, I already hinted it a little bit. Sophie is the hidden gem hunter. So we started more with the types that we want to cover. And we decided on 4 major types, which are also mainly built on personas that Switzerland Tourism created together with other destinations. And so Sophie is the one that we think is also how would you say, like the most difficult to get the right information if you search online. And if you use ChatGPT and Co, because like they also just use the available data. And with Sophie, we're hoping to offer a solution for people that are actually looking for the off the beaten track hidden gem tips that are more like the local bars you probably won't find or not find as easily if you search online. And so we also gave her like a little bit of a background story, which is important for how she's going to answer. Where does she live? What are her interests? And so on.
All right. And Sophie also got a voice that speaks right now like 15 languages, but also can be extended.
Het Colosseum in het oude Rome bood meer dan alleen gladiatorengevechten.
Yeah, we have Netherlandish. How do you feel about that, Pascal? How is voice relevant or audio relevant?
I think it's like voice in general is a big topic in the last few years, and it came more important with the upcoming of Gen AI and LLMs. And I think you're going to talk a little bit on that later. So our goal is to have it as natural as possible, so that you have a digital companion with you when you're traveling. So the voice is the vehicle, how you like transport that, and also the character of the persona. But yes, it is like still in exploration. With 11 Labs, you mentioned, it's a great partner, so they have good quality, but there are some limitations we still work on, and we need to figure out ourselves how to get around them, and it's gonna improve anyhow. So like everything is still quite young, as you all know, but it works so far quite well. And yeah, we're happy that we have this option to also just, as you see with the toggles, we can work a little bit with like the tonality and the stability of the voice. Is it like slower or faster? So we can work around this character we are building for Sophie in this example.
And then, of course, building a local guide, the next part is connecting the knowledge the local guide should have, and that's based on what you uploaded. And then on the other side, you need to and want to test the local guide if he really is good to go. And we have integrated the playground here. Let's say I've asked here the last time, where should I go have dinner? And I'm just asking for meer.
Maybe at this point, there are some
on
questions
here
related to testing.
Yeah.
So testing currently is mainly internally with the partners we have, but there's going to be a call to action at the end for everybody that wants to join the alpha testing. So yes, we do want to test with real travelers and or locals. So that was one question. So there has been testing in the prototype app Doris mentioned in the beginning. So they already have some information from there. But when it comes to the content, that's like the phase we're currently in, adding content, testing that, also testing that in the Joaia app that you'll see a little bit later. And also the question, how do travelers choose between different local guides? You're gonna see it a little bit later. And the last one I also want to mention now is, Doris, you mentioned the long-term memory. And
I will also come back to that.
How much of my data do I expose to the guides, and how is it when these guides, Barcelona to Zurich, share this private data in concern to GDPR?
I've seen the questions, especially about the long term. Here it's important, like you as a user have the full control. You as a user can decide, do you allow the application to store memories from your conversations? You will have the possibility to review those memories, to delete, to clean it again, and make the system unpersonalized again. That's really important. And maybe some of you already tested it, how ChatGPT does it with saving memories and so on about your conversations. It's really in the early field. It's a totally new way of personalization, and till it's gonna get really good, it's gonna take a while. But most importantly, of course, everything we do has to be and will be GDPR compliance, and also EU AI Act compliance, of course. And yeah, which means you're gonna always remain the full control. And the other questions I would like to answer when we go into the Joaia app application in itself. So you created Sophie, and Pascal now has the possibility to launch Sophie into applications, user applications. And one application we are still building on it, and that's why I'm just showing you a design, is the web plugin. So in this way, local guides can be integrated directly on the website of the partners, and can be used then with a map interface or chat interface or list interface. This will also be launched then in December. What we have already, and Pascal mentioned it already, we are in a closed alpha testing phase of the Joaia app, which is the first interface to really test the local guides. And we actually just invited yesterday 50 test users. And if you are eager and curious and you want to test it, there will be a link in the end, a QR code in the end, where you can register and get into the next wave of test users. But before you need to make this decision, I want to quickly show you how the Joaia app looks at the moment. This is a mirror of my personal phone. And I recently enjoyed holidays in Cyprus, which was kind of holiday/work, because I could test for the first time the new Joaia app while traveling. And yeah, that's how it's going to look like if you are 2 weeks exploring things in Cyprus. But we want to test Sophie, and that's why we're going to create a new trip to Zurich to be able to then test Sophie, and we call it Weekend in Zurich. And of course, we're going to say where we need to go, and we want to go to Zurich. For personalization reasons, I would have the option to say I'm going in summer or autumn. And also for recommendations, maybe you're asking for breakfast options. You don't want to have them across the city. You maybe want to have them close to where you stay. You have the possibility to enter your address where you stay. And yeah, it makes also a huge difference if you're traveling with your family or you're alone or with friends. And I would say we travel with friends. Those are all optionals, and we're going to create the trip now. And yeah, we are in the testing phase, so it broke down. Can happen. And we have the weekend in Zurich. Yeah, at least that worked. We have the weekend in Zurich, and we start with an empty map. We heard a lot of our test users saying the overwhelmment comes with the thousands of options and clicking through lists and possibilities. So that's why we're going to test the UI where we start with an empty map. We also have chosen our companion. The companion is not a local guide. Companions are created by us, only knowing general knowledge, and they are usually like a backup. That's why I could also use it in Cyprus. We don't have any local guides in Cyprus, but I could test it on the companion base. And whenever Sophie doesn't know something, Rosie jumps in and tries to answer it. Because it would be really annoying as a user if you're asking questions and then every second time it says like, sorry, I don't have any data about that. But we're going to check, and here we have Sophie from Zürich Tourismus. And we're going to unlock her and choose her. And going back to the trip, and now are able to speak with Sophie. What can I do in Zurich? A classic open question that is actually really hard to answer for the AI, because there is many things to do. And now also Sophie brings her own perspective into that.
Ich habe dir Orte ausgesucht, die Zürichs Seele zeigen. Von geschichtsträchtigen Plätzen mit Weitblick bis zu versteckten Ecken, die nur im Alltag der Stadt spürbar werden.
And as you can see, the voice in German is also not super natural. We saw the questions if it's possible to talk in Swiss German. It would be, but it sounds really funny. That's something we really hope also that the technology involves.
There's also, maybe you haven't seen the question about Apertus and if that could be interesting for us, especially in regards to Swiss German and so.
Yeah. Apertus apparently at the moment has not enough general knowledge. What happens when I ask these questions is that in our guide engine, in our AI brain, it goes through multiple prompts. It's like an orchestration of different prompts into an agentic workflow. Each of those prompts has a specific task, and some of them need some general knowledge to make this task, to be capable to fulfill this task. And then, for example, if I ask what I can do in Zurich, there are 4 different prompts simultaneously working on giving an output to make the search query as good as possible. For example, it was analyzing, am I as a user right now in Zurich? And if I am in Zurich, does it need a search around me based from my user location? Or am I asking something in general? What can I do in Zurich is a pretty general question. And I'm also not there. That's why it decided it's going to give me recommendations all over town. But if I'm, for example, asking at 11:30, where can I eat? It will use the user locations and will only make recommendations around you. And for example, for this task, the prompt needs an understanding of the world. If I'm asking where can I go eat in the old town, it doesn't really help if then decides to make a radius of 200 meters around you, because the old town is quite bigger than 200 meters around you. So it needs to decide, okay, this is an area, this area is approximately that big, so I'm going to decide 1 kilometer and I'm going to cover the whole old town. And we tested Apertus for that, and we would really look forward to use an LLM model as safe as Apertus for stuff like that, but it needs to have, in our case, more general knowledge to fulfill those tasks. All right.
Just the latest question. Sorry, I closed the chat view accidentally. Does it have any personal memory? So it doesn't. Memory, yes, as we discussed before, but mainly it's the documents we upload in the guide studio and assign to this specific guide. So that's kind of Sophie's memory is, what do we tell her? Like what should she recommend to a certain question? And that can be added, as you see now, like we have some general information, because if you want to go visit Zurich, Grossmünster is one of the sightseeing spots. But there's also more a local cafe / restaurant in the recommendations, which you usually wouldn't get the Grand Café Lockergut if you would just like ask a general guide. So yes, that's like the personal memory is what we give her as a knowledge base.
And from the user perspective, that's what I meant with short-term and long-term memory.
Yeah.
So it should know what the conversation is about. It's also, by the way, quite tricky to make this happening right. It should know about. It should know
Ich habe
about
dir
the
eine Mischung aus
conversation.
charmanten Klassikern.
Yep, we are talking. It should know about the conversation. It should build the context. For example, if you're asking about the Grossmünster story, it will not start with a one-page whole history thing. It will start with smaller steps, and you decide if you want to deep dive into it. So it should understand what it told you before, so it's not going to repeat herself. And that's the short-term memory.
And by the way, Darius, we wanted to update the knowledge in the guide studio, publish the latest knowledge. We haven't done that yet.
Yeah, we are anyway running a bit out of time, I see. Yeah. There's so many great questions. Yeah, so that's the Joaia app. If I would not be mirroring it, I could have obviously also zoom in and join on the map, and I have buttons to interact with. And soon, before we will launch it, there will also the possibility of making a picture and asking questions about it, or translating info boards and so on. Yeah. If it's Pascal from your side, something really relevant.
I quickly brush over it, but really just like a minute or two, and then we go into that. So yes, maybe just presentation mode. So like, why are we doing this? We have like this guest cluster. So the more the individual experiences, they book our guided tours. Then we have those more like the checklist tourists that want to see the highlights. But we don't really have anything yet for the independent journey travelers. So that's why we decide on that. And like in this Venn diagram, you see like the ones that are seeking for comfort or autonomy or in-depth knowledge. We have some offers, but nothing really covers everything. So our goal is with Joaia to actually cover that. So the people that want to be autonomous, in-depth knowledge and comfort. And I think that's really important. The tours are really for us the premium experiences. And we did talk with our tour guides pretty in the beginning before we started. And they weren't as critical as we thought, to be honest, because that's the last part. I really brush over it. So the AI local guides do have some pros, but also some cons, and the guided tours have some pros and some cons. And we think that actually can work together. So from within the AI local guides, we can do some recommendations for tours. We can ideas for new tours gather there. And after the tour, we can also recommend to use the app for further information. But in the end, it's all like better guest experience. That's why we're doing it. That's what we're hoping for. And we already mentioned some of our guides. So Fernando's more like the classic explorer, Sophie, hidden gem hunter, Leo, we know like Zurich also has his luxury side to it. It's going to cover that. And Celine is more the one that recommends you Zurich as a hub if you want to go to Lucerne, Bern, Sankel, wherever. Like Zurich is a hub that's really good for that. So that's what she's going to cover.
All right. You saw already some functionalities, but obviously there will be more to come in the future. Just a glimpse to that, we will be working on a possibility local guides can also provide bookable things. Like it would be handy if it recommends you to go to Oerlikon and also be capable of booking the public transport ticket or booking a museum ticket. May some of you have seen the recent launch from OpenAI with working together with Shopify. Yeah, you can imagine something like that, but working together with local vendors. And creating tours, for now, everything is built to be as individual as possible. But may you also want to have, say, 1 hour in Zurich, please create me my own tour. Be able to share your experience with one another will be a topic. And also when picture and video creation gets faster, making immersive pictures, how the old town of Zurich looked like back then, historically accurate and not AI crazy mode as we see a lot, could be really interesting. And yeah, we have recently talked also to the guys from Meta. Yeah, they do have those glasses, and who knows, maybe in the future, if more people use those glasses, it can also be an application run on those glasses.
So great, guys. I need to jump in because we have 4 minutes bonus for startups now. So thanks a lot for this for these insights. Very interesting what you have built here. And maybe one final sentence from you to the participants.
Yeah, the one final sentence. If you want to become a tester and help us to build this to perfection, scan the QR code or go on our website, register for alpha tester. And yeah, thanks for the interest.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks also for the questions and for the already first feedback, Paula. Thank you.
So thanks very much. Can we share the slides afterwards? Is that possible?
Yeah.
Ah,
sure.
Great. Okay. So thanks a lot. And then, yeah, wishing you a happy weekend for a moment. Bye-bye. Ciao.
Thanks, everyone.